Okay, I am back. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another episode of this Piscean Reports. How's everybody doing? Let's all breathe. Woosah. Sorry. Sorry, you guys. All right. So this is going to be video 2, and this one's going to be very, very small. Because number 2 is getting hot in here, and I turned the AC off so I can talk to you guys, and it's getting hot. All right, so I just want to do like a little shout out. Technically, I guess you could say it's more like a shout out. Okay, now that I have decided that I would start getting back into it a little bit. You know, I doubt if I'll be on here every day. I don't know if I'm that person, but because I told you guys I'm somebody who's more behind the scenes, you know, just like I'm a pastor. Okay, I too am someone who shines behind the scenes. All of my jobs that I do the best work in is behind the scenes. You know, I told you guys I worked at the Marriott. I was an operator for 12 years. Okay, I did shuttles and room service, and you know, pick up this person at the east terminal, the main terminal, and then somebody, you know, we would have these family reunions, and then somebody would come in, and you know, they took all their towels down to the pool, and so they come back up, and now we need new towels, and we need something to eat. Okay, let me go direct you to room service, and then somebody else calls, and hey, I need this thing faxed. Can I come down and fax it? Yes, you can. You've got these new business people who are in town, and I have a meeting at this place. What's the best way to get to it? And you got to go on a computer and figure that out, and the whole nine. And for 12 years, I shined in that, right? And you know, I worked as another job that I totally shined at. I was a froster at a cupcake company, and I killed it because it filled the artist in me. You know, there would be people who would just frost cakes and they just kind of hurry up, and I was making sure the swirls had to be perfect, and the little things that went off to the side and everything. And people would always tell me, Chiquita, your cakes are the prettiest, you know, because I was that one. I shine in that way, right? So that's who I am. Even the job I have right now, I like making the company that I work for look good. And how do I make them look good? By making sure I do my part, which is get everything, you know, censored and out there and out so that they can make their money, and you know, so that's just me. But anyway, so I don't know that I'm gonna be on all the time. I'm just not that. I don't know. It's hard for me to shine and to get out and be the face, right? But anyway, so today's video, I want to 3 minutes in. Cool, I didn't take up too much time. 3 minutes in. So I wanted to make this video. I want to do a shout out to the witches out there. The witches. And I love you guys. I love you. I told you, like, this is going to be that thing where you like, woo, you were way on the other end of the spectrum. But I want to say this. People have given that word such a ugly connotation. And those who are, like, if you're like they call it a white witch, but it's basically a witch who practices white magic as opposed to black magic. If you're into that, you guys already know, right? So I don't have to say nothing to you guys. That's just a little info for others who might come in, and they used to like to come in and watch me do the tarot readings, which is why I'm doing this, because you know, witches are, let me just say this, you guys are magical as, you know what. You guys are amazing. Witches make the world a better place to live in. Okay, I kid you not. So, and I'm gonna say this. Okay, so first we are going to do a quick little dive, you know, like a quick little history lesson in witches, because I wanted to know, when was the term witch first brought about? Okay, so I looked it up, and it says it was in the medieval time, from the 5th century to around the 15th century is when people started using that word. But technically, it's a fall off word from Wicca. Okay, so a Wicca, I had to look it up. Wicca indicated the masculine, and now, and I don't know if I'm going to say this right or not. It's Wicce. So when I hear ICE, I think Wiccus. Okay, because that is the feminine. Wicca is this is a term that for which, and it's Old English word that's used for Wicca, the masculine, and Wiccus, I guess, is feminine, right? And the earliest recorded use of the word witch was in the year 890. Okay. What I love about witches, and I wrote this down, is that you guys, because I consider myself to be a witch of sorts, I dabble, right? I'm not full blown. I dabble, okay, and I would get more into it, but I got cameras watching me 24/7, and it's hard to, it's hard to do your thing and to be you when you've got other people trying to throw stones at you and judge you for your practices. So I decided, you know what? Later on down the road, in the future, when I'm far, far away from all the cameras, then yes, I probably will get back to being more, a little more witchy, right? But anyway, but that's what I love. Witches, you know what? And that's why I said we get such a hard, you have a very difficult reputation. It has more to do with Hollywood than anything, particularly nowadays. Okay, and then here's the thing: witches have been around forever, right? Clearly, you guys have been around. We've been around damn near since the beginning of time. Okay, when you think about it, all the time you see things back in the day, even in the Bible. When I think it was David who would interpret dreams, and let's call it what it is. He was psychic. He was a visionary. You know what I mean? And most witches are that. We are visionaries. We know how to work with the universal energies. We know how to tap in. We know how to connect, right? And then what happens? How many people have tarot channels? Because I'm going to tap into that. Now, I will say this. There are a lot of witches who don't use tarot. Let me say that because I put in here witches, and I wanted to touch on tarot as well, because it's a part of a lot of witches' repertoire, now, and which is why I say we're so magical, because people tune in. They tune in. You know how many of you guys have insane channels, explosive channels. People tune in every couple of days to hear your messages. What do you have for us? What should we look at? What should we know? Do you see what I mean? We're very magical in that way. The world needs us. Like I said, David, back then, he was an interpreter. He interpreted a dream, and then he was thrusted into a powerful position. History has proven that there have been very famous people, people in power who would call in the use of a psychic or a seer to tell them something. They should I do this? Should I not? What would be the outcome? One of the things I can remember when I think of history, there was a woman, JFK said that he was going to go to Dallas, and she said, don't go. I'm telling you, don't go. That is such a bad move. But he didn't listen, and he went anyway. I was looking at an episode of Locked Up, which sounds silly, but whatever. I was looking at an episode of Locked Up Abroad. There was a man who, before he would go on a trip, he would go see this Asian woman. And she had these sticks, I believe, and she would throw them down, and she would tell him, your trip is going to be successful. You're going to be okay. And so he would go make the trip. He didn't tell her, hey, I'm getting ready to go do drugs, and should I go do this? He said, I'm going to make a trip, and I want to know, is the trip going to be successful? And she said, yes, it is. And he would go do it, And then the one time that he went to go look for his psychic, his person, she wasn't there, and the trip went bad, and he got caught, and he ended up getting locked up. Amazing. So, we are amazing, magical people. And what's exciting is that we're so fabulous. Hollywood likes to use us. You have that movie, The Craft, there are so many Harry Potter movies, and they like to use witch terminology, shapeshifter, right? Everybody knows a shapeshifter, has come into contact in one way or another with a shapeshifter. A shapeshifter is someone, in Hollywood, they make them, go from being trees or birds or rabbits into human form. But in actuality, if we do this realistically and logically, yes, shapeshifters exist. And I love that we coined that term, These are people who, and you think you don't know a shapeshifter. Think about somebody that when you're hanging out with them, they're one way with you, and then they go right over here and they become somebody completely different over there, and then they go over there and there's something over there. They're a completely different person. A shapeshifter is someone who will be anything that they think you need them to be in that moment. You know what I mean? So we're wise, and we see people. You know what I mean? We're magical. We could call upon spirit and say, give us a message, to give to someone. We're amazing people. We connect. We can use herbs. We understand the power of the tongue. And if you think that, and here's what's interesting. They want to call us witches, but people, quote unquote, regular people, cast spells every single day. Anytime you tell somebody to go fuck themselves, I'm sorry, or I hope you die, or anytime somebody's wishing something harmful and hateful on somebody, they're casting a spell, but they don't even realize it. They'll never say it's a spell. That's not a spell. I'm just saying your words have power. Witches understand that there's power in the tongue. That's why you see them in the movies, and they're, as they're stirring pots and they're saying these things, and they try to make it all cute, and you're making this rhyme, and that's a spell. No, a spell is anything that is casted towards someone else, good or bad, But like I said, we recognize that, And that's what we're just amazing people. We're amazing, 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 amazing people. The world needs us. We have been around since the beginning of time. And I wanted to say for you, all of you out there who are self-proclaimed witches, or, you know what I mean? Honor your heritage. You know what I'm saying? Like, honor your heritage. Yep, I'm a witch. I come from a long line of witches. You know what I mean? I come from a long line of seers. I come from a long line of whatever. You know what I mean? But yes. Shout out to all my beautiful, amazing, wonderful, spiritual, rich witches. Okay, I don't know any religious witches. Okay, we're all spiritual, and you have to be, because, like I said, we understand the universe. We understand. How to call upon the Most High, how to call upon their guides, how to call upon their angels, and and how to work with the energies, to work with the moon and the stars. We understand the cycles and how they affect us in the whole nine. We're amazing people, So anytime somebody try to make you feel bad and say, "Oh my God, you're evil and you're a witch and you're this and you're that," just be like, "Thank you. I'm glad you recognize. I'm glad you know." You know what I mean? Like, whatever. So, yes, you guys are fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Let me see if there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. I did touch on that not every witch uses tarot, but a lot of witches use it as part of their repertoire. But that didn't come along. Tarot didn't come along until the 15th century, okay? So, literally, we were considered witches right up until the 15th century. The 15th century tarot came in, and then that's which originally started off as a card game. For those who don't know, tarot was originally a card game, and then they turned into a divination tool as time went on. Okay, And then, as I said, witches begin to use them in their repertoire. Not all witches do. Spirituality, like I said, has been around since the beginning of the time. And I think it is time that we honor who we are. You know, there are people who will try to make you feel like you're a terrible person. You know, you're evil, you're wicked, you know what I mean? And it just is what it is. Just is what it is, you know. I understand that there are, you know, witches who practice black magic, but I'm saying shout out to all of the lovely witches who like to do things positively, you know. I remember I worked at a job, and a young lady, when I started telling people, because I'm just like an open book, you know what I mean, and I had no problem telling. I would, you know, everybody would always tell me I was so quiet. And I said, that's because you guys don't talk about what I know about, what I want to talk about. And they would say, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, you know, a lot of you guys probably don't know, but I'm a tarot reader. And they were like, oh, you know, oh. Some of them were like this, and oh, I'm so scared now. And oh my God, she's a witch, and this and the other thing, you know. But every now and then I would get somebody who would come to me, and there was a young lady, and she broke up with her boyfriend. And she said, can you, and she said in that sweet voice, you know, and she said it low, because God forbid she should just come out and say, hey, by any chance, can you give me a spell to make my boyfriend love me, fall back in love with me? God forbid she should say it out loud, right? So she was, you know what, my boyfriend woke up with me, and I was wondering, is it possible, do you by any chance know of a spell that you can do to get my boyfriend to fall in love with me again? And I said, and any wise witch would tell anybody in a heartbeat, you do not want to do that. You never, ever, ever want to, because we all have free will. And you absolutely, rule number one, you do not ever want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Interfere. You do not want to interfere with another person's free will choices, not ever. And I told her that. I said, no, sweetheart. And I said, you need to understand, sometimes everything happens for a reason, you know. And I told her that. And I said, God, for all you know, the Most High wanted you guys, deliberately set that up for you guys. You know, not even the Most High, but the universal energies. You know, this person wasn't any good for you. So they set it up to where you had no other choice but to see the truth in a situation, and you guys ended up breaking up. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's a thing. It happens, you know, and we need to accept it. And so I told her, don't ever say you want to try to, interfere with another person's free will choices. You don't, because that never, ever goes good. So if you go to somebody and they say, I can make this person, love you, or I can make this person do this, or I can make this person do that, that shit, well, I mean, whatever. I'm not monetized. That shit will never work. Okay, it will never. It will go bad in so many ways. Why would, and then let's say, even if that was even possible to make someone love you, why would you want to make them love you? You know what I mean? That just that right there is just reeks of desperateness. I want to make this person love me. That reeks of desperation. And and you're putting out into the universe, I am not worthy of genuine love. I'm not worthy of real love. So I want to make this person love me. You know what I mean? That's crazy. So anyway, you see what I'm saying? Like, these are the kind of things that I could talk about. I could get into this and we could be talking a good little minute, but I said I was going to make it short, so I just wanted to do that quick shout out to all the witches out there. You're magical, you're amazing, you make the world a better place to live in, and the Most High knows who you are. He created you. So for anybody out there who wants to try to make you feel less than and make you feel like you're wrong for being who you are and you're going to go to hell and you're practicing the devil's work and we've been hearing that since the beginning of time. If you think about that, and that usually comes from those people who, in the traditional church, in traditional old English, it's always been this way. Those people, okay, yeah. Pay it no mind. You guys are amazing. You're wonderful. You're outstanding. You know, God knew who you were. He made you. He gave you the gift of sight. Technically, if I'm completely honest, we all are capable of it. It's just that it lies dormant because the world pulls it out of you. Okay? Everybody has it as children, and I believe that wholeheartedly. All of us have it as children, and it's a part of us. But as we get older, you know, the world tries to strip you of certain things. You know, you're not to believe this, you're not to believe that, you're not to do this, you're not to do that, and if you and God forbid you should actually have that and want to try to use it, and then they try to no, don't do that, and you're gonna go to hell, and you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do, and they want to scare you out of something that is so natural within you, instead of saying, you know what, work on that, like bring that up, bring it out. There's money in that. You know, people need people like us, you know, to say, help me, you know, I want to go, what do you think about going this way, what do you think about doing this, and what do you think about doing that, and then they turn to you. So don't, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. Like I said, this has been going on since the beginning of time. Old world bullcrap. Okay, and whatever. Like I said, you are to be celebrated. Everything about you is amazing. You're so amazing. They make movies about you, but you know, Hollywood has to make things more than it is. You know Hollywood. They always want to, because who would go in if we were just like this? You know, we've got to, you know, have things flying from our fingers and things going in the air, and people who could turn into butterflies and boats, and, you know, and this and that and the third. That makes it more interesting. But genuinely, witches are amazing people, and yeah, shout out to you guys. Okay? Shout out to those of you who use tarot in your repertoire. You are not wrong for doing that. Don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong. Don't let anybody tell you that you're evil. You are not. Okay? I was listening. I'll just say this. Shout out to all the amazing readers. I want to say names, but, you know, I'm always... and I've noticed that. I wonder if that's a part of my path, is to, you know, raise up others. I just love to do that. I love to give people their flowers, you know. Probably because growing up I did not get it, and so when I see it in others, I definitely want to let them know, you're amazing, you're fabulous, you're this, you're that. And so, you know, but anyway, shout out. I'll just do a general shout out to all the amazing readers out there. You make the world a better place to be in. You really do. Keep shining, keep doing you, you know. To all the witches out there, keep being magical, keep being beautiful, keep making the world a better place. You know, we need you guys, you know. You make the world, truly, you do. You make the world a better place to be in. Okay? All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go 23 minutes. And I said I'm thinking in my head it was going to be 10. So I'll leave it here. I love you guys. I will see you all next time on the next video. You guys take care. Love you, love you, love you. I will see you guys next time. All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.